Assalamu alaikum madada na makaka, wazee kwa vijana.
Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is Apusha Pool and my usual show is youth and politics. And today's topic is in a form of a question, and we're asking, where are COVID-19 relief funds? So this is a question that it really needs further or thorough interrogation, that needs further clarification from the Ministry of Health and the Ministry of Finance. So, apart from the COVID funds, I'm also talking about the future of BBI and the mismanagement of COVID-19 funds. And the questions of today are very simple. I have only 5 questions, and question 1 we are asking, how do you think COVID-19 funds have been used? As a Kenyan, are you aware, or do you know how COVID-19 funds have been used? Number 2, we're asking, does the Ministry of Health still do or carry out what we call contact tracing? Does it do that? Then we're asking, what has been the cause for embezzlement or mismanagement of these COVID-19 funds? And then we're also asking, what's the future of BBI? That's our question number 4. Then, what does the BBI have to benefit the common mwananchi? Then lastly, we're going to tackle, do you think the handshake has been of any benefit to this nation? So please join me. If you have not subscribed to this channel, please make sure you do so. Subscribe, also comment, raise your views. This is a channel for the youth to raise their voice so that they can speak up. And let's go out. Let's start this. You know, it is quite embarrassing that now Kenyans are languishing in poverty, but someone or some people, a few people somewhere, or a few individuals somewhere are enjoying life. They're using these COVID-19 funds for their own benefits. And I remember a few days ago or months ago, Kagwe reshuffled around 30 senior procurement and accounting officers. I don't know what is the meaning of this to this nation, because you cannot reshuffle people. And I've been saying this, and I said this in episode 8, that this has been the norm in the government. Someone steals from the other position, then you reshuffle him or her to another position. This is something that, of course, is really killing the Kenyan government. If something is done, if you have been mentioned in any scandal, you are supposed to resign with immediate effect. And one of the most senior civil servant in the Ministry of Health raised an alarm when she spoke out. It was quite a heinous act, because this is Susan Mochache. Had one day tweeted that, I can read the tweet, I can just quote the tweet of what she said. This is what she said, that they had not received complete amount of 1 billion from the World Bank, and no money had been spent at all. So this is the tweet that was actually deleted hurriedly. Just in a span of a moment, this tweet was deleted by the same Susan Mochache. It's a senior servant in the Ministry of Health. And of course, this raised a controversy, because now you say that you've not received the complete amount, and then at the same time you say that you've not spent even a penny. Yet you've not received the same amount. It raises us a red alarm. So the MOH, or the Ministry of Health, is no stranger to controversy. This is not the first time we're having these controversies with the Ministry of Health. It's not the first time, and it's not the last time. Because the Auditor General or the Auditor General is not able to account for 10.9 billion Kenyan shillings that were allocated to the ministry in the 2017-2018 financial year, and a similar amount in the 2015-2016 financial year. Of course, you can. If the Auditor General cannot account for this amount, who else can account for it? Because we don't know where this amount has gone. We don't know what this amount has done. But we are seeing very petty hospitals, very petty health facilities around. Hospitals have not reached the standards that were supposed to get to. And of course, I always blame Mr. President. It is one of your agendas. Universal health care. If at all the Ministry of Health can do this, then it means this is a red alarm. This is quite a shaming, because if the Ministry of Health cannot account for over 10 billion Kenyan shillings in 2 financial years, then it means that there's something wrong in the government. We call upon investigations into this matter, so to say. And even as Kenyans call for investigation into this matter of controversy in the Ministry of Health, the problem is that the post of Auditor General remains vacant 9 months after its previous occupant retired. Of course, it is 9 months since the Auditor General retired, and the position is still vacant. There is no any Auditor General. I don't know where we're heading to. Who is in charge of these procurements? Who is in charge of these audits? So MOH can do anything in as much as embezzlement is concerned, because there's nobody to audit. There's nobody to question. There's nobody to budget everything. Of course, I must tell you this. There is a bigger scandal that is coming. We have a bigger scandal that will be coming from these COVID-19 relief funds. Kenyans, I believe, will not be surprised for that. We are prepared because we know very well that each and every morning it is scandals, theft, corruption all over. So it will not be a new thing for us to get this scandal that we've had another scandal, or people have looted some money. It is not a new thing. We are used to this, but we are preparing for the biggest scandal ever. And the members of parliament should hasten the probe into this matter. Of course, the National Assembly Finance Committee should compel the MOH and that of finance on how COVID-19 relief funds have been used. Of course, it is just recently that the MPs started questioning this, but they will have started this long ago. I don't know what happened. I don't know if it is Kostani, the chairperson of the lower house, who is in charge of this committee. You have to do something. Please hasten the investigation into the matter. If investigations is not carried out, I swear and I promise, a lot of funds have been embezzled. A lot of funds have gone to waste. And I wonder, people are just quiet with this. They're not talking about it. They're quiet. And of course, let me just split down the total amount that Kenya has received so far in as much as COVID-19 relief funds are concerned. Kenya has received a lot of money. And I know a few Kenyans know this. Leave alone Kenyans. Other countries, I know you are watching this show. I know you don't know. But today, let me break down everything. And of course, let me start by this. Kenya had received about 78.3 billion from International Monetary Fund, IMF. And that, even before the World Bank wired another 108 billion to the Central Bank of Kenya to help the fight against the virus. So far. So in a period of 1 week, we had 78.3 billion from the International Monetary Fund. And then we had 108 billion from the World Bank. And then it is in the same period we had worth 4 million. It is quite sarcastic. That not being enough, the African Development Bank, ADB, also joined the fundraising effort, giving out a total of 22.5 billion as a consensual loan, even before the European Union topped this up with the additional 7.5 billion in form of grants. So it is quite alarming, it is quite insensitive that all this money we've not seen where it is. So just to sum up the amount that has been received, to sum up this, in a period of 60 days, Kenya had received or secured at least 223 billion Kenyan shillings as part of COVID-19 war chest. I repeat, in a period of 60 days, Kenya had received or secured at least 223 billion Kenyan shillings as part of COVID-19 war chest. Not millions. I said 223 billions. It is a billions, not even millions. And by the way, to be very honest and open, getting the breakdown of expenditure from the Ministry of Health and that of Finance has remained fertile. There's no response. We have not received the breakdown of expenditure. I don't know what the Ministry of Health is waiting to give Kenyans the breakdown of expenditure. The Ministry of Finance should hasten the investigation to the matter because they are the one who are releasing funds to this MOH. I wonder why the Ministry of Health had to pay the National Intelligence Service, in brackets NIS, or in Kiswahili huduma ya ujasusi, to carry out contact tracing. Yet it is their role, that is NIS, under the law to do the tracing, since they have details of each and every Kenyan. So it was quite irrelevant for the Ministry of Health to pay the National Intelligence Service to do the contact tracing, yet they had not even used the amount that was allocated to them in the 2019-2020 financial year. They had not used that fund, because I remember COVID-19 came in earlier this year when these people had even not started even using the same funds. So I wonder what is happening. It is questionable. It raises a red alarm. And as a matter of fact, this is a heinous act. And recently we had Mr. Macharia, the PS for Foreign Affairs, complaining that contact tracing had collapsed after he had tested positive, and his fellows were never looked for. Fellow Kenyans, if a PS can complain of the same and is in the same government, what of a common mwananchi? If a PS can stand up and say, of course, we gave money because he's a PS for Foreign Affairs, he knows money coming because they must go through the Foreign Affairs Ministry for it to go to the Finance Department. If he can't complain, then there's a red alarm, there's a red flag that there's more than it meets the eye. So, of course, Mr. Macharia says that he was sick. He received, I don't know, is it petty treatment? There were no nurses to check on him. There was no contact tracing to get other 10 people that he was with. And everything seems to be normal. But we are told that there is an amount that is being generated or being deposited into this National Intelligence Service Department every day and night to do the contact tracing. Of course, I guess contact tracing is not still on. I guess people have the ministry has stopped doing contact tracing. But I understand that the moment we generated politics into the fight against COVID-19, we degenerated everything. We changed the scenario, we changed the phenomenon, we changed the language, and now Kenyans will move around telling Kenyans to wear masks. They will not wear masks as long as top politicians are still having gatherings, as long as top politicians are still fighting for political seats, and instead of fighting for Kenyans, instead of this our senators fighting for the well-being of Kenyans, they're fighting for allocation of revenue. Yet we have a system where this revenue has always been shared. Which is more important, the life or the bill? But of course, this is Kenya. We are used to this. But I believe one day we are going to change this scenario. We are going to change. And literally we are going to change. We are going to change. Then back to politics. Youth and politics. After that short analysis of COVID-19 funds, I believe we've all gotten the glimpse of what happened, of how much we raised. And if you didn't get that, I repeat, in a period of 60 days, Kenya had received or secured at least 223 billion Kenyan shillings as part of COVID-19 war chest. Now, all that seemed to be impossible due to COVID-19 is now possible. There's a referendum around the corner. Yes, there is a referendum around the corner. We have funds. Of course, we have been told that serikali ina pesa, serikali ina hela za kutosha, na serikali itasimamia kura ya maoni, referendum. It is true that BBI will have to pass now that those in power are pushing for it, not for the sake of the common mwananchi. It is because the top politicians are pushing for it. We as common mwananchi, we are just following suit. We are just being driven like a wheelbarrow in any direction. We are being used for the benefit of the top politicians or other politicians. We have no one to help us, to listen to our cries. And of course we say, we are the one who elected such people to those posts. So we should stop complaining every now and then that these politicians are misusing us, they are stealing from us, because we decided to choose leaders, not because of their integrity, but because of what they handed us, because of what the 50 bob they gave us, because of the 100 shillings they gave us, at most 200 shillings they gave us. This is quite alarming. So when politicians are reaping whatever they planted, stop complaining, you as a voter, that scandals every now and then. Of course, you are the person who voted for them. So, what we forget to understand is that Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission of Kenya, or IEBC, is an independent body which should never be. And I repeat, is an independent body which should never be directed by any state officer, no matter who you are. And that is in chapter 7, under representation of the people. Article 88 of the Kenyan Constitution is very clear on that. So the rate at which IEBC is being targeted, the rate at which IEBC is being threatened is quite alarming. And Honorable Raila demanding that IEBC should or must prepare for a referendum is an intimidation to the independence of IEBC. Him, that is Raila, saying that the reg will be back shortly, leaves Kenyans with no option other than saying that COVID-19 doesn't exist and was a scam. I'll always repeat, politics has affected the fight against COVID-19, and it has made Kenyans think COVID is not real. Of course, this COVID is real. But the rate at which we've incorporated politics into the fight against COVID-19, and I always repeat, has made Kenyans think that there is no COVID-19. As I quote what Honorable Raila said, he says, there is money and we can teach Chebukati how to do it. We are going to show them how to do it. End of quote. These are words of Raila as quoted. Then if there is money, why are people dying of hunger in Baringo? Why are people dying of hunger in Turkana? Why are people dying of hunger in some parts of Samburu? And why are people dying of hunger in Mandera if there is funds? Between the life of a Kenyan and the life of a BBI report, which one is more important? You are the same people who are advocating to vote for the same people again, who don't see the importance of your vote. They don't see the importance of your vote at any cost. If they can say that there are funds to do the referendum, yet people in Kibra are dying of hunger, yet people in Samburu are dying of hunger, yet people in Turkana are dying of hunger, they've never seen clean water, it is quite alarming to you as a voter who says that Raila is the next president, who says that Ruto is the next president, who says that Uhuru should have another term, who says that anyway, to cut the long story short, the entire system needs to be changed. We don't need Uhuru, we don't need Raila, we don't need Ruto, we just need another generation of politicians that will streamline everything politically. We don't need them. They've proven incompetency. And I'm not sorry for that. I know, even if these words will haunt me one day, when I get a job with the government, as Najib Balala did to, is it Njoroge recently, when he revoked her appointment because of her previous tweet. Of course, Kenyans must wake up and raise their alarm. I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid. I must raise my voice and tell you that we are going wrong. We must ensure that we are acting with integrity. I don't support any politician at the top. I don't support Ruto. I don't support Raila. I don't support Uhuru, nor am I supporting any old politician. I'm only advocating for youth to take these opportunities. And Raila's words is a direct insult to IEBC and the Kenyans in general. It shows clearly that they can dictate what should be done by Chebukati. It shows clearly that the ones running IEBC, and IEBC is no longer independent. Never. It is never independent. It's never free to carry out their mandate, their duties, unless they are controlled by those in power. And of course, we have no other ways other than following what has been planted in us, other than doing whatever that has been planted, whatever has been initiated by these top politicians. We have no other ways other than following whatever they've said. I have a dream that one day our Kenyans will be educated on how to vote for leaders of integrity, not leaders who give them money, not leaders who give them handouts, no leaders who use them only during time for campaigns and run away when they get elected. I have a dream that Kenyans will start electing people of integrity. Kenyans will start voting not for tribal matters, not on ethnicity, but on capabilities of each and every politician. I have a dream that each and every Kenyan will get educated on the voting process. I have a dream that one day, one time, we shall have an independent electoral commission of Kenya that is never controlled by any politician, that is never controlled by someone or a few individuals who have interests in political positions. I have a dream that one day we'll stop voting due to our ethnic groups, that one day we shall stop voting because of what has been given to us, that one day we shall vote not because it is our right to vote, but because we enjoy choosing leaders of integrity. Leaders who will represent us in the parliament. Leaders who will represent the interest of Kenyans, not the interest of the political party they were elected with. Leaders who will not be ashamed of saying that their leaders are controlling them. We need such leaders. I have a dream that one day we shall stop focusing on a political party and elect individuals who can work and are capable of working for a Kenyan citizen. I have a dream. As I said earlier, BBI has no any benefit for a common mwananchi. And if this BBI is for benefit of common mwananchi, why didn't they, in brackets, BBI influencers, print out copies and distribute to them to the common mwananchi to read for themselves? I've never seen those copies. I've never seen a common mwananchi in Kibera with a copy of BBI report. I've never seen any politicians in Kibera telling people what has been written in the BBI report. I've never seen any BBI influencer or these people moving up and down with the BBI report to a common mwananchi, telling them that this is the benefit of this report. If this report is for the benefit of mwananchi, why can't they unveil everything to mwananchi and tell them to prepare for a heavy taxation due to those regional seats that will be created if this referendum comes to pass? Why can't you inform Kenyans that there are regional positions that have been created in this BBI report? Why can't you prepare Kenyans psychologically that they are going to pay more taxes so that we can get funds to pay these regional leaders? Why can't they inform Kenyans youth that their role has remained that of cleaning the streets? Why can't you inform Kenyans youth that they will only be used when it is campaign time and not for their own benefit? Why can't you inform the Kenyan youth that when BBI report comes to pass, they'll have no any position in the government? Oh no. Why can't you inform the youth that they have no any position in the BBI report? Why can't you inform the common mwananchi that they have no any belonging in the BBI report other than being used for the benefit of a politician? Therefore, BBI has no any benefit to a common mwananchi. I've read and I've repeated severally the 156-page document about the BBI report. I've read it. I've never seen, or have I seen anywhere, that the interests of a common mwananchi have been represented. And that's why I'm not here for the entire common mwananchi thing, but I'm just here in this channel for the benefit of our youth. For a benefit of our youth who says that he or she doesn't love politics because of what those in politics have done. Because of the dirty politics that our elders are doing. Because of dirty politics that our politicians have incorporated into the clean politics that we had with our forefathers. Youth have stopped following politics and even participating in politics simply because the Kenyan government does not support, does not show any concern for benefit of mwananchi. It pains me a lot to see that the only work that has remained for our youth is to clean up the streets through the National Youth Service. I have a dream that one day our youth will wake up, our youth will embrace politics, and in 10 years' time, I believe we are going to raise a Kenyan youth who will be a president. We are going to raise Kenyans into these parliamentary positions. We are going to raise youth who are going to represent the interest of their fellow youth. And as I always say, we are tired of the norm that youth are the leaders of tomorrow. Youth are never the leaders of tomorrow. We are the leaders of today. And if not today, we are the leaders now. The issue of the elderly telling us all this gold has been passed with time, has gone past our time. It is a high time as a youth we take these positions. It is a high time that in 2022 we have so many youth on the ballot paper fighting for those political positions instead of waiting to be nominated in those positions. When you wait for nominations, you will only get 2 slots. But when you go to the ballot, I swear and I promise, we are going to emerge victors. We are going to be the best people ever. I believe and have a dream that one day, one time, we are going to have a nation being led by our youth. A nation that responds to the interest of our youth. And as I always say, 75% of Kenyan voters are youths. If we come together and join our hands and join our heads and form one political party for our fellow youth, we are going to raise a president. It is possible. If all Kenyan youths stop the notion that has been incorporated into our minds by our politicians, by our old politicians, that you have to, when you form a political party, you have just to focus on your ethnic group. When we stop that and form a national youth party that will incorporate each and every citizen, each and every youth, we are going to raise a president in this nation. Will be a youth. If we don't revolutionize everything, vijana tunakufa. We are doomed. It's a high time that youth stand up. But again, if our youth who are elected, a few of them who have been elected through these political parties and have gone into the parliament and they have now become zombies, supporting everything that has been said by a political party for fear of removal in those positions, that is nonsense. I repeat, I quote this from our youth leader in the parliament. He says, when you see us following Baba like cows, we are fearing consequences like the ones you are facing now. This was Junet Mohammed on 23rd of June 2020. These are words that should never come from a youth leader like Junet. You should never be controlled by an old politician. You are supposed to advocate for the interest of our youth. You are supposed to stand firm on your decision and say no to everything that is against the wish of every youth or every citizen. It is quite discouraging to see a certain politician speaking such a word. You cannot utter such a word for people who elected you. You are mocking someone because of standing firm on a decision that made him to be removed from that position. You are mocking such people. If the youth, when youth listen to that, when they hear this, they become discouraged. They understand that they are being controlled, that when you are elected, you are only supposed to represent the interest of the parties. And I've said, and I repeat, I have a dream that one day we shall elect leaders, not because of ethnic groups, not because of political backgrounds, not because of political parties, but because they are able and capable to do what has been brought to them, to do what people who elected them have done or have said they should do. I have a dream that one day when we wake up to vote, when we wake up to queue those long queues till late hours at 5 p.m., we are voting for politicians. We are not going to vote for a political party. We are not going to vote because we are in ODM. We are not going to vote because we are in Jubilee, Asili or Jubilee. We are not going to vote because we are in ANC. We are not going to vote because we are in Ford Kenya. We are not going to vote because we are in PNU or KANU, but we are going to vote because of your integrity. Even if you are an independent candidate, you better get my vote, because I know you are going to represent the interest of each and every Kenyan, because you don't have any party that you are presenting, but you are presenting Kenyan interests. That's a dream that I believe one day, one time shall pass. That's a dream that I believe our Kenyan youth will always embrace. This therefore means that the decisions we see being made in both houses, Senate and Parliament, are driven and controlled by those in power or in political parties. So any decision that comes in, we're only seeing the interest of the party. Jubilee wants to see its agendas being passed. ODM wants to see its agendas being passed. ANC wants to see the agendas being passed, but not the agendas of the common mwananchi. I repeat, I have a dream, and I believe that one day, one time, we are going to have a nation where people vote and their vote counts. And as I always say, the handshake should never be said that is a unifying factor. The problem is in the IEBC. The problem is what we call the system, if at all there is such a thing. The moment we shall have transparent elections, transparent and accountable elections, we shall have and experience a peaceful nation. Full stop. It's not a matter of a handshake. How many times will we have handshakes? After every general election, we have a handshake because blood is being shed. No. If we have an independent and transparent electoral commission, we are not going to experience bloodshed. We are not going to see these politicians running up and down saying that their votes have been stolen. We are not going to experience such a thing in our lives. Fellow Kenyans, we have to know and understand that is a time. Time has reached. We have only left with 17 good months to another general election. I don't know if you have forgotten. I don't know if you still have the 200 shillings you were given by a politician. I don't know if you still have the 50 shillings you were given by a politician so that you can vote for him or her. I don't remember. I don't think if you have the same. But if you could have voted for a leader of integrity, you could have better roads passing at your doorstep. You could have water and good sanitation in your area. We could have had better drainage facilities. We could have had better healthcare facilities. Oh, I'm running out of words. My heart is tearing into pieces. My heart is being torn into pieces when I see our politicians, the people we elected, vomiting on our shoes. Fellow Kenyans, it is a high time that we pay tribute. It's a high time that we understand that the role of a politician is just to use us. There are just very few who mean their words. I can tell you, in 2017, we elected the most incompetent politicians ever. I regret and I repeat, I regret having voted twice in 2017. I regret. But of course, I was a young youth who had never seen such experience. But today, I bring this experience to you, telling you that don't vote because you have been given some amount. Don't vote because this leader comes from your background. Don't vote because this is your neighbor. Vote because this is a leader who will go to the upper house, will go to the lower house, will go to the county assemblies and represent your interests. Leaders will bring food on your table. Leaders will bring schools, or more development in our schools. Leaders will bring more healthcare facilities to our counties. Let us not vote because we really need to vote. And as I said, this platform, Youth and Politics, or Youth in Politics, is meant for our fellow youths to raise their voices, is meant for my youth to raise their alarm, to raise their concerns, and get to reach their political leaders and tell them whatever they're facing. They should understand that whatever we've elected, any politicians we've elected, has become a greedy person. I once had a conversation with someone and she said, there's no any politician who's a poor person. I laughed because it is true. Show me any politician who's a poor person. No one, eh? No politician is a poor person, and I repeat, there's no any politician who's a poor person. Even if you're just served for one term, there's no any politician who's a poor person. Even if they've retired, even if they've gone for one term, these people have had money. They've had enough money. These people get a lot of money just to go sit in the upper house or lower house twice a week. That's 8 times a month. Oh, wow. It is quite funny and sarcastic. But if you don't impress whatever I'm telling you, we will always weep, we'll always complain, we'll always say, oh, politicians are stealing every day and night. But because you vote for them, you vote for these people to steal from you. When you are told, don't vote for so and so, you say, no, I'm voting for him or her because he or she comes from my village. I'm voting for him or her because she comes or he comes from a political party that we've been supporting since then. I'm supporting him or her because we've been together. I'm supporting him or her because of ethnic groups. It's a hard time that we do away with tribalism in this country. It's a high time we do away with tribalism, voting due to our blocks, voting due according to our ethnic groups. Because when you come from Mount Kenya, everybody wants votes from Mount Kenya. When you come from Western, everybody is fighting to get votes from Western. Why? Because you said that ODM is very famous in Western. Jubilee is very famous in Central. Oh no, it's a high time we as youths come together and say, you come from Central, I come from Western, you come from Kalenjin, you come from where I come from Coast. Let us come together. Keep our differences aside, and as a youth, we need to raise one leader. We represent our interest in the National Assembly. We represent our interest in the executive. It is only through youth revolution that we are going to do this. Fellow Kenyans, good people, I know you've not had this opportunity to listen to such a voice. I'm very young and energetic to analyze each and every issue that comes to you, because I know politicians are very good at framing. You will always run with whatever they say. They know how to defend themselves, and they know how to use a common mwananchi for their own defense. But I know, and I'm happy that a few Kenyans have learned that politicians are there to use them for their own benefit. Thank you, Kenyans. A few Kenyans who've understood and learned that this is something tangible, that this is something politicians have been using to lure them. Na hapa Kongole. Na niwaambia kwamba Wakenya wenzangu, siasa ni mchezo mbaya. Si kwa sababu ni mbaya kwa vile, lakini ni mbaya kwa sababu wale walio pale juu washatupatia dhana ya kwamba siasa ni mchezo mbaya. Washatupa dhamiri ya kwamba siasa, ukitaka kuingia katika siasa lazima uwe na lugha ya matusi. Lazima uwe unatoka katika kabila fulani. Lazima uwe una support chama fulani. Lakini niko hapa kukuambia hivi, siasa si mchezo mbaya. Ni wale walio katika siasa, wale waanzilishi wa siasa ambao wamefanya siasa inaonekana ni mchezo duni. Siasa inaonekana ya kwamba kila kijana ambaye anataka kuingia katika siasa anaona ni mchezo mbaya. Ni dhana potovu ambayo imewekwa katika akili zetu na wale ambao walianzisha siasa. Lakini ni sisi, ni hitaji letu, ni dhamira yangu ya kwamba sisi kama Wakenya tupate akili mpya, tujue ya kwamba siasa si mchezo mchafu. Siasa si chafu, bali sisi wenyewe ndio tunafanya siasa kuwa chafu. Tunaposikia kutoka kwa viongozi wetu, unaenda kupiga ndugu yako sababu kiongozi wako hajapita. Huyo kiongozi yako anaenda keti chini, anafurahia, anakula vizuri, anakunywa vizuri, wewe mwenyewe umeua ndugu yako. Unafikiria vipi? How do you feel? Ya kwamba sisi wenyewe wa Kenya tunauana. Hao viongozi pale, hakuna siku umesikia kiongozi fulani ameua kiongozi fulani, bali ni sisi wenyewe, sisi samaki ndogo ndogo wenyewe tunauana wenyewe kwa wenyewe. Funguka macho mwananchi mwenzangu. Funguka macho. Wakati umewadia. We call a spade and a spoon, not to call a spade a big spoon. Ufisadi umekithiri, vijana tumeachwa nyuma. Hata zile, yani inahuzunisha jinsi gani hata zile hela ambazo zimetengwa kusaidia mwananchi ambaye anaumia pale chini zinaibiwa. Hela ambazo zingetusaidia kupigana na hili janga la corona zinaibiwa. Fedha zinatumiwa kwa madhumuni ya walio na nguvu katika serikali. Lakini wale wanyonge pale vijijini, pale Baringo, pale Samburu, kule Turkana wanaumia na njaa, ilhali pesa zimeletwa. Tumepewa pesa msaada kutoka kwa mataifa mengine, kutoka kwa Banki ya Dunia, fellow Kenyans, let us be realistic. Let us question our leaders. As I always say and I repeat, let us question our leaders. Let us question our leaders. Let us take time and say no to these politicians who are using us in a negative way. Let us stop this notion that the youth will only be used when it comes to general elections, and after voting, your youth is left aside to depend on his or her own. Let us stop this notion that whenever a politician wants to succeed politically, he or she will carry out youth, will take youth and have them on his or her rallies. But after voting for him or her, they disappear, leaving the youth only to clean up the streets. Is it the only work the youth can do? I always ask, how many youth are there in the government? And how many older people are there in the government? Even those who have reached the retire age. That after failing in a certain election, in a certain post, you are given another post. I find as a governor, when I don't get the position, I'm given the space or an opportunity to be a speaker of a certain house. Oh, is that how things are done? If you had your luck there and you failed, how sure you are going to succeed in another position, the position you are being given? If I failed as a governor, how will I succeed as a speaker of a certain house? If I failed as an MCA, how will I go to succeed as an auditor general? It means everything I do, I'll fail. Someone who has been mentioned of corruption cases, you push them from one position to another, transferring corruption cases from one department to another. Is that the Kenya we need to live in? Is that the legacy the president wants to live when he retires? I always don't blame the president. I'll always blame his advisors. Because, as this saying goes, show me your friends and I'll tell you who you are. So it depends on who advises the president. Whoever does that should think twice and start advising the president in the right way. This person is killing the president silently. The president is going to leave aside or leave behind a very bad reputation, a very bad legacy. Hey, and though I loved my president, and though I love Kenya, it leaves me with no option other than saying that let us vote, not because of our ethnic groups, but because of leaders of integrity. As I come to the end of this show, I'm giving you a challenge. Try and ensure that you make peace with everyone. Try to ensure that you are preparing yourself psychologically for 2022. That when a politician comes to these handouts, you don't take them. Vote for a leader, not because they're in a political party you love, not because they're giving you money, but because they're accountable, transparent, and most importantly, people of integrity. Fellow Kenyans, it's a high time that we think of how these corruption cases are being handled by our Kenyan government. I don't know where the fight against corruption has gone. I don't know if corruption has really ended. I don't see people being persecuted. I don't see people being arraigned in courts for these corruption cases. I don't know, did it end? Did the fight against corruption end? Your Excellency, we need your answer for this. You studied well. Ulianza na roho, usai umanza kumaliza na mwili. Wacha tumanza na roho, vile tulianza na roho. Tupigane ufisadi, uishe, ili vizazi vijavyo vipate serikali ambayo inaendelea, serikali ambayo haina deni, serikali ambayo inajali maslahi ya kila mwananchi popote pale alipo. Si kwa ajili unatoka Turkana, si kwa ajili unatoka Kakamega, si kwa ajili unatoka Samburu ama Lodwar, bali ni kwa ajili wewe ni mwana Kenya. We are all Kenyans. We respect Kenyans. Lastly, fellow youth, I tell you, 2022, you are the people you're looking at. 2022 are supposed to shape the politics of this nation. You have to change your voting procedure. You have to change the campaign procedure of these top politicians. If you don't do that, come 2023 to 2030 to 2027, don't blame anyone. It is right into your hands. If you are not taking your voter's card, ensure you've started preparing to pick one as soon as possible. Prepare to pick one as soon as possible. We need to bring change to support our own fellow youth and tell people that old is not gold. You always say that old people are always genius. I'll tell you, some of them are old but with no brains. But there are some young people with better brains, even better than 10 older people combined. Thank you, fellow Kenyans. If you have not subscribed to my channel, please do so. Subscribe for more videos that are coming to you every month. Please like, share, and also comment whatever you have in your mind. Thank you, guys. And this is Apusha Pool, and my show is Youth and Politics. I've been your host, Apusha Pool, and thank you, guys. I think next month I'm going to bring you a guest. There's a very good friend of mine who has asked me to interview him, and I believe we'll have another guest. I believe the next one will be an interview. It will not be an analysis the way I did this and the other show, but keep in touch. Please subscribe if you've not done so. Thank you, guys, and take care. Wear your mask in public, wash your hands, sanitize, and most importantly, make peace with your neighbor. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum madada na makaka, wazee kwa vijana.